The stars bent and twisted as the massive fleet dropped out of quantum space. Hundreds of ships appeared at once, their metal hulls gleaming in the distant light of the sun. Commander stood on the bridge of the largest ship, his hands gripped tight on the railing. His eyes were fixed on the screen in front of him, showing a small blue planet far ahead. "Earth." "We made it," said the science officer standing beside him. Her voice was quiet, almost a whisper. "After all these years, we actually made it back." Nodded but said nothing. He had dreamed of this moment his whole life. His parents had dreamed of it, their parents before them. For 300 generations, humanity had lived among the stars, building new worlds, new cities, new lives. But they never forgot where they came from. 30,000 years ago, their ancestors had fled Earth. The sun had started acting strange, sending out waves of deadly radiation. Scientists back then couldn't explain it. They only knew that staying meant death. So they built ships, as many as they could, and they left. 10 billion people scattered across the galaxy, searching for new homes. They found them. Humanity spread to dozens of star systems. They grew stronger, smarter, better. They learned to live for hundreds of years. They built machines that could think. They mastered technologies that seemed like magic. But through it all, they remembered Earth. The old songs, the old stories, the old promise. One day, we will return. "Sir, we're getting readings from the planet," said the young tactical officer. He looked up from his console, confusion on his face. "There are structures, lots of them, cities, orbital platforms, and there are ships, thousands of ships that aren't ours." Felt his stomach tighten. "What do you mean?" "Earth isn't empty, sir. Someone is living there." The bridge fell silent. Everyone turned to look at the main screen as the image zoomed in. Earth looked different. There were rings around it, massive metal rings covered in lights and buildings. The continents were still recognizable, but the green and brown land was covered with strange silver cities that seemed to float above the ground. Ships moved between the planet and the rings like insects around a hive. "Who are they?" asked. "Worked at her station pulling up data. I'm reading multiple species, at least 7 different types of life signs. Wait, I'm picking up a broadcast. It's in multiple languages. One of them it's a trade network, sir. Earth is some kind of galactic marketplace. They took our home and turned it into a shopping mall." His voice was angry. Before could respond, a new voice came through the speakers. It was mechanical, translated by the ship's computer from an alien language. "Unknown vessels, you have entered territory. State your purpose or you will be considered hostile." Straightened his uniform. "Open a channel, let me talk to them." The screen changed, showing an alien face. It had 4 eyes and skin that looked like blue scales. Its mouth moved in ways that seemed wrong. "I am commander of the Human Defense Fleet. We have come to reclaim Earth, our." The alien's expression didn't change. "Earth is territory. It has been for 28,000 years. There are no humans here. There never have been." "That's a lie," said, his voice hard. "Humans evolved on Earth. We left because we had no choice. But we're back now and we want our planet returned to us." "You abandoned this world. Under galactic law, it belongs to those who settled it. You have no claim here. Leave now or we will remove you by force." The screen went dark. Looked around the bridge. His crew stared back at him, waiting for orders. He could see fear in some faces, anger in others. The diplomatic officer stepped forward. "Sir, we should try negotiation. If they've been here for thousands of years, they might have legal standing. The Galactic Council might." "The Galactic Council," interrupted. "We don't answer to them. Earth is ours. It always has been." "But we left," said. "For 30,000 years. Can we really just show up and demand it back?" Closed his eyes. She had a point. But he also knew what the mission was, what humanity expected of him. They hadn't traveled for months across the galaxy just to turn around. "Run detailed scans of the planet," he ordered. "I want to know everything. Population numbers, military strength, resource locations, everything. Yes, sir, said, turning to her console. Hours passed. The fleet maintained position while scouts moved closer to Earth, gathering data. Watched reports scroll across screens. The aliens called themselves the Collective, but they weren't just one species. They were an alliance of different races, all living together on Earth. There were trillions of them, spread across the planet and the orbital rings. Brought him the military report. They have firepower, sir. A lot of it. Not as advanced as ours, but they have numbers. If this turns into a fight, we'll win, but it won't be easy. Nodded, he expected that. What about defenses? Planetary shields in some areas. Weapons platforms in orbit, ground-based artillery. They're well protected. Approached with her own report, she looked troubled. Sir, I found something. There are energy signatures coming from underground, deep underground. They don't match technology. What are they? I don't know, but they're old, really old, and they're in patterns that suggest settlements, hidden cities. Felt his heart race. Are you saying? There might still be humans down there, sir, living in hiding. The bridge erupted in noise. Everyone started talking at once, raised his hand for silence. His mind raced with possibilities. If there were humans on Earth, humans who had survived for 30,000 years under alien occupation, then everything changed. They weren't reclaiming an empty world. They were rescuing their own people. We need proof, he said. Prepare a message to send to those locations. Use old Earth languages. Everything we have in the archives. If there are humans down there, we need to make contact. And if they try to stop us? Asked. Looked at the planet on the screen. Somewhere down there, humans might be waiting, hopping, praying for rescue after thousands of years. Then we show them what humanity has become, he said quietly. We didn't come all this way to fail now. The crew began their work and watched Earth turn slowly on the screen. His ancestors had left this place in fear and desperation. Now he had returned with the might of a spacefaring civilization behind him. But he hadn't expected to find it occupied. He hadn't expected resistance. And he definitely hadn't expected there might still be humans trapped down there, waiting for someone to save them. Whatever happened next, knew one thing for certain: Earth was about to change forever. The transport ship cut through Earth's atmosphere like a knife, its shields glowing orange from the heat. Sat strapped in his seat, checking his equipment for the third time. Around him, 20 soldiers did the same. They were the best of the best, trained for situations exactly like this. 2 minutes to landing, the pilot called out. Looked at the small screen on his wrist. It showed a map of Old Seoul, or what was left of it. The ancient city was buried under 300 meters of soil and rock now. Above it, they had built one of their floating cities, held up by technology that still couldn't fully explain. But below, in the darkness and the ruins, the scanners had detected life. Human life. The ship landed hard in a cleared area deep in what used to be a forest. Trees that had grown for thousands of years surrounded them, thick and wild. The soldiers jumped out, weapons ready, but nothing attacked them. The forest was quiet except for strange birds calling in the distance. Move out, ordered. Stay tight, watch for patrols. They moved through the forest until they found it, a cave entrance hidden behind hanging vines. It looked natural, but the scanner said otherwise. Someone had carved this tunnel by hand, disguising it to look like nature. They went inside. The tunnel sloped down, deeper and deeper into the earth. Lights appeared along the walls, old electric bulbs that flickered and hummed. Someone knew they were coming. The tunnel opened into a massive cavern. Stopped and stared. It was a city. An entire city built into the rock, spreading out in all directions. Buildings carved from stone, streets lit by dim lights, and everywhere people, humans. They looked thin and pale, dressed in simple clothes made from rough fabric, and they were all staring at the soldiers with wide eyes. An old woman stepped forward. She had gray hair and a face lined with wrinkles, but her eyes were sharp and intelligent. "You're really here," she said in perfect Korean. Her accent was strange, old-fashioned. "We thought, we hoped, but we didn't really believe." Lowered his weapon. "I'm from the Human Defense Fleet. We came back for you." The old woman's eyes filled with tears. I speak for the people of New Seoul. Welcome home, brother from the stars." Within an hour, was sitting in a small room carved from rock, listening to tell stories that made his blood run cold. She spoke calmly, but her words carried weight of terrible suffering. They hadn't found an empty planet. When they arrived 28,000 years ago, there had been humans everywhere. Billions of them. The people who couldn't escape, who were left behind when the fleet departed. They had survived the radiation event, adapted to it, built new civilizations from the ashes. Then they came. They wanted Earth for themselves. At first they tried to negotiate, but humans refused to leave, so they made a choice. They attacked. For 100 years they hunted humans across the globe. Cities burned, armies fell, billions died. "They almost wiped us out," said. "Only a few million survived. We hid underground in places like this. We've been here ever since, living in the dark, stealing what we need from the surface, staying alive any way we can." "How many of you are left?" asked. "Maybe 80 million, scattered in hidden cities all over the planet. We stay small, stay quiet. They think we're extinct. They teach their children that Earth was empty when they arrived. They've erased us from history." Felt rage building inside him. "We didn't know. We thought everyone left behind died in the first century. Our records." "Your records are wrong," said simply. "We've been screaming into the void for 30,000 years and no one answered. Until now." A younger woman entered the room. She had oil on her hands and wore work clothes. "The power core is acting up again. I need to go to the surface tonight to steal parts." "We have guests," said. Looked at and his soldiers. Her expression was hard, suspicious. "I see them, men in fancy armor from space. Are they here to save us, or are they here to take what's left?" Warned. "It's a fair question," shot back. She looked directly at. "You left us here to die. Why should we trust you now?" Had no answer for that. She was right. His ancestors had abandoned these people. The fact that they didn't know anyone survived didn't change the reality. "We want to help," he said finally. "We want to take Earth back from the—" "And then what?" asked. "You'll give us a nice spot in your new colonies. Let us be citizens of your empire. We don't need saving. We've saved ourselves for 30,000 years." "That's enough," said firmly. "Go fix the power core. Come with me. There's something you need to see." She led him deeper into the city, through narrow streets where children played and adults worked at simple tasks. They came to a large chamber where walls were covered in writing and pictures. It was a museum of sorts, preserving human history. "We've kept everything," explained. "Languages, art, music, science. Everything they tried to destroy. Every child born here learns the old ways. We may live in caves, but we remember who we are." Saw pictures of old Earth, the world before the Exodus. Beautiful cities, green fields, blue oceans. Then he saw pictures of the invasion, the burning buildings, the bodies, the mass graves that stretched for kilometers. "We've documented it all," said. "Proof of what they did. They rewrote history, but we kept the truth alive." "This is evidence of genocide," said quietly. "Yes, and they can't let anyone know it exists. If we reveal ourselves, they'll finish what they started." His communicator beeped. It was a report. "What have you found?" "Sir, you need to come down here. Everything we thought we knew is wrong." 2 days later, stood in the same chamber looking at the same pictures. Was with him, taking careful scans of everything. Stood nearby, her face pale. "This changes everything," said. "If we present this to the Galactic Council—" "The Galactic Council won't care," interrupted. "They'll say it happened too long ago. That the current government isn't responsible for what their ancestors did. They'll tell us to forgive and move on. She's right, said grimly. I've seen how galactic politics work. Justice delayed is justice. Had been quiet, studying her scanner. There's something else. I'm detecting power signatures, deep below this city. Something really old and really powerful. The temple, said. We've never been able to open it. It's been sealed since before the came. Our histories say the Exodus fleet left something behind, but we lost the keys to access it. Show me, ordered. They descended further into the earth, following ancient stairs carved into solid rock. The air grew cold. At the bottom, they found a massive metal door covered in symbols. Human symbols, but in a language so old that even the historical archives didn't have a complete translation. Ran her scanner over it. It's a genetic lock. It needs human DNA, but not just any human. It needs someone from the original Exodus fleet bloodline. Stepped forward. My family kept detailed genetic records. We're direct descendants of the fleet admiral. He placed his hand on the door. Nothing happened for a moment. Then the symbols began to glow. The door shook, dust falling from ancient hinges, and slowly, impossibly, it began to open. Inside was a chamber filled with equipment, weapons, power cores, and in the center a hologram projector that activated on its own. A figure appeared, a woman in an old military uniform. If you're seeing this, then humanity has returned to Earth. My name was Admiral. I was the one who ordered the Exodus, and I'm the one who left this message, this weapon for you. The hologram flickered. We didn't want to leave, but we had no choice. The sent probes to destabilize our sun. They wanted Earth for themselves, and they were willing to kill everyone to get it. We managed to save 10 billion people, but we couldn't save everyone. To those we left behind, I'm sorry. We always planned to return. This facility contains enough firepower to defend Earth from any threat. Use it wisely, use it well, and know that we never forgot you. We never stopped being human. The hologram faded. The room fell silent. Spoke first. So it's true, they were forced to leave, the cause the Exodus. Nodded slowly. And they've been lying about it for 30,000 years. What do we do now? Asked. Looked at the weapons around him, then at and her people. Now we stop hiding. Now we show the what happens when you try to erase humanity. The ancient weapon fired for the first time in 30,000 years. A pulse of blue energy shot from the Pacific Ocean floor, spreading across Earth's orbit in seconds. Every ship in range simply stopped working. Their engines died. Their weapons went offline. Their communications cut out. Thousands of ships hung dead in space, drifting like leaves on a pond. On the flagship, watched the chaos through his screens. The fleet was in panic, trying to restart their systems, trying to understand what had happened. They didn't know about the weapon. They didn't know humans had the power to disable their entire military with a single shot. That got their attention, said with satisfaction. It was just a warning pulse, explained, studying her readings. The weapon has enough power to do much more. It could destroy their fleet completely if we wanted. We don't want that, said quickly. This was supposed to be a demonstration of strength, not a declaration of war. It's already war, a new voice said. Admiral entered the bridge, his uniform crisp and his expression hard. He was older than a veteran of conflicts in distant star systems. The committed genocide. They stole our planet. We should wipe them out while we have the chance. That's not the mission, said firmly. Then the mission is wrong, replied. We came here to reclaim Earth, not to share it, not to negotiate, to take it back. Before could respond, the communication system activated. Appeared on screen. This one looked different from the first one they'd met. Younger. Its scales were lighter blue, almost silver. I am Junior Ambassador of the Collective. I wish to speak with your commander about what just happened. I'm Commander. You're lucky that was only a warning. We could have destroyed every ship in your fleet." "I understand," said carefully, "and I believe you could, but please listen to me. I'm not like the others. I didn't know the truth about Earth's history. Most of my generation didn't know. We were taught that this planet was empty when we arrived." "You were taught a lie," said. "I know that now. I've been researching since we first made contact. I found records that were supposed to be sealed, records of the invasion, the killings, what my ancestors did to your people." Paused. "I'm ashamed. Many young are. We want peace. We want to make this right." Laughed harshly. "You want peace. After 30,000 years of occupation, it's too late for peace." "Admiral doesn't speak for all of us," said. "What are you proposing?" "A meeting face to face. You, me, and representatives from both sides. No weapons, no tricks, just talking. Please. There has to be a way to solve this without more death." Looked at his officers, nodded eagerly, looked uncertain, shook his head in disgust. "I'll meet with you," decided, "but if this is a trap—" "It's not. I swear on my life it's not." The meeting took place on a neutral station orbiting Earth's moon. Brought and the Scent and two others. They sat across a table in a small room with windows showing Earth below them. "Before we talk politics," said, "I need to say something. I'm sorry for what my people did, for what they've been doing. It was wrong. It is wrong." "Sorry doesn't bring back the dead," said. "I know, but it's where we have to start." Pulled up images on a screen. "This is Earth's current ecosystem. See these networks? They're biological support systems. They have been here so long that we've integrated our technology into the planet itself. Our machines help regulate the climate. Our filters clean the air and water. Our generators maintain the magnetic field." Leaned forward, studying the data. "Wait, are you saying Earth can't survive without technology?" "Not anymore. 28,000 years of terraforming has made the planet dependent on our systems. If we remove them all at once, Earth will die. The atmosphere will collapse within a decade. The oceans will become toxic. Everything will die." The room fell silent, felt his heart sink. "You've chained yourself to our planet." "We've chained our planet to ourselves," corrected. "If you force us to leave, Earth dies. If you destroy us, Earth dies. That's the terrible truth." "Then we'll fix it," said. "We have advanced technology. We can build new systems." "It would take decades," said. "Maybe centuries. And during that time, who maintains the current systems? Who keeps Earth alive?" Spoke up. "So you're saying we have to work together?" "I'm saying we're stuck with each other, whether we like it or not." Stood and walked to the window. He looked down at Earth, so beautiful and blue. He'd imagined this moment his whole life. Coming home, taking back what was theirs, but it wasn't that simple. It was never that simple. "My people won't accept this," he said. "They came here for victory, for justice." "And my people won't leave peacefully," admitted. "Trillions of were born on Earth. They don't have another home." "Then what do we do?" Before could answer, alarms blared throughout the station. Red lights flashed. On the screens they saw explosions. A civilian station near Mars was under attack. Ships were firing on it. Human ships. "Who authorized this?" shouted into his communicator. "I did," voice came back. "Those were planning an attack on our fleet. I have intelligence that proves it." "You're lying," said. "Stand down immediately." "No, I'm doing what you're too weak to do. I'm taking Earth back." Was shouting orders in his own language. "My people are saying the same thing, that you planned this attack, that the meeting was a distraction." "I didn't know," said. "You have to believe me." "I do believe you," said. "But it doesn't matter. Thousands of civilians just died. My government will demand retaliation." On the screens, more ships were moving. The fleet was powering up weapons. The human fleet was doing the same. What started as one admiral's unauthorized attack was spiraling into total war. "Stop this," pleaded. "Everyone stop." But it was too late. The first shots were fired. Human and ships engaged each other in orbit around Earth. The space above the planet lit up with weapons, fire, and explosions. Felt helpless. Everything was falling apart. The meeting had failed. War had begun. And worst of all, he now knew the truth. Even if humans won, even if they drove every off Earth, the planet would die anyway. A new alarm sounded. This one was different, deeper. Checked her scanner and her face went pale. "What is it?" asked. "New contacts, coming from deep space. Multiple signatures, big ones, and they're not human or—" On the screen, massive shapes appeared at the edge of the solar system. Ships, but like nothing anyone had ever seen. They were black and angular, covered in symbols that hurt to look at, and there were hundreds of them. Stared at the screen. The architects, they're real. The old stories were true. "What are the architects?" demanded. "The ones who came before," said, his voice shaking. "The ones who built the probes that drove you away from Earth. We thought they were automatic defenses. We thought they were long dead. But if those are their ships—" The largest of the black ships sent out a signal. Every screen in the station displayed the same message, translated into every known language. "Attention, biological inhabitants of Sol 3. Your presence on this world is unauthorized. You have 60 cycles to evacuate the system. After that time, all biological matter will be sterilized. This planet belongs to the architects. It always has." And looked at each other. The human and fleets had stopped fighting, all ships frozen in shock at what they were seeing. "They're going to kill everyone," whispered. "Both our species. They're going to wipe us all out." Made a decision. He opened a channel to every ship in the system, human and alike. "This is Commander. I don't care about our war anymore. I don't care about who owns Earth. Right now, we face something bigger, something that wants all of us dead. Earth doesn't belong to humans, or it belongs to anyone willing to defend it. So I'm asking, who stands with me?" For a long moment there was only silence. Then one by one voices responded, human captains, commanders, all saying the same thing. "We stand with you." The combined fleet moved into defensive positions around Earth. Human ships and ships flying side by side, something no one had thought possible just hours before. Stood on his bridge, watching as tactical displays showed both forces integrating their systems. "The architects are holding position at the edge of the system," reported. "They're not advancing yet. Maybe they're waiting to see if we'll leave peacefully." "We're not leaving," said. "Send that message to all ships. We make our stand here." Approached him holding a data pad. "Sir, we have a problem. I've been reviewing the historical files, cross-referencing human and records. I found something disturbing." "What is it?" "The Exodus wasn't an escape. It was a deal." She showed him the screen. 30,000 years ago, a group of human leaders made contact with the had faster-than-light technology. Humans didn't. So our leaders offered them Earth in exchange for FTL drives and safe passage to other stars. Felt like he'd been punched in the stomach. "That's impossible." "I have the contracts, digital signatures, everything. The human leaders knew they would take Earth. They didn't care. They just wanted to save themselves and the people who could fit on the ships. Everyone else was expendable." "That means we abandoned billions of people on purpose," said, overhearing. "We sold them out." "And they didn't invade," added, checking the data. "They colonized, under a legal agreement. From their perspective, they bought Earth fairly." Wanted to deny it, to say it was fake. But the evidence was clear. His ancestors, the people he'd been taught to revere as heroes, had betrayed their own species. They doomed billions to save millions. "Does anyone else know about this?" he asked. "I sent it to before I brought it to you," said. "I thought he deserved to know. And it's spreading. People on both sides are seeing it. There's no way to keep this secret." Within hours, the truth exploded across both fleets. Human soldiers learned that their glorious exodus was built on betrayal. Civilians learned that their ancestors were colonizers who'd slaughtered the people they'd made a deal with. Riots broke out on stations. Protests erupted in human ships. Everyone felt betrayed. Everyone felt lied to. The foundation of both civilizations was cracking. His face appeared on screen. She was calling from underground in New Seoul. So it's true. You really did abandon us. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't a tragedy. It was a choice. My ancestors made that choice, said. Not me, I didn't know. But you came here wrapped in their glory. You claimed to be liberators. Turns out you're just the descendants of cowards and traitors. That's not fair. Fair? Voice was sharp. We've lived in caves for 30,000 years because your ancestors sold us out. Don't talk to me about fair. The call ended. Felt the weight of history crushing him. How could he ask people to fight for Earth when the entire foundation of the mission was a lie? His face replaced on the screen. The looked exhausted. My people are in chaos. They're learning that everything they believed about Earth was propaganda, that we're not innocent settlers, that we're occupiers who committed genocide to cover up a business deal. We're both dealing with hard truths today, said. The old guard in my government wants to double down. They're saying the contracts make everything legal, that your ancestors agreed to the terms, so nothing we did was wrong. And what do you think? I think our ancestors made a deal, and then your ancestors left your people behind to die, and then my ancestors killed them to hide the evidence. Everyone's guilty. Everyone's a monster. A new alert interrupted them. The architects were moving. Their massive black ships were advancing into the solar system, slow but unstoppable. Ran analysis on their technology. I've never seen anything like this. Their ships are running on principles that don't match any physics we know. They're not using fuel. They're not generating heat. It's like they're rewriting reality around them. Can we fight them? Asked. I don't know, maybe with the ancient weapon, but paused, looking at new data. Wait, the weapon is activating. Someone turned it on. I didn't give that order, said. Neither did I, confirmed. On the planet's surface, in the chamber beneath New Seoul, stood before the ancient control systems. Worked beside her, connecting power cores that had sat dormant for. Are you sure about this? Asked. The weapon was left for humanity, said. We're the only real humans left, not those traitors in space, us, the ones who stayed, the ones who survived. But the architects will wipe out everyone if we don't act, human and alike. At least this way we control our own fate. The weapon powered up fully. Energy readings spiked across every scanner in the system. The ancient machine was designed to do one thing, protect Earth from any threat. And right now, it detected two threats, the architects and the fleet. They're going to fire on everyone, said in horror. Opened a channel to the surface. Stop this. You'll kill millions of innocent people. Innocent? His voice came back cold. The murdered billions, the Exodus fleet abandoned us. There are no innocent people here except us. This is our planet, this is our weapon, and we're going to use it. The weapon charged, 30 seconds until it fired. Looked at, my fleet can't evacuate in time. We have civilian ships, colony transports, families. I know, said, I know. 20 seconds. Made a choice. All ships emergency jump, get out of the system now. Sir, we can't leave them to die, protested. We're not, combined fleet stays. Everyone else jumps away, move. Civilian ships from both fleets began jumping to safety. The military vessels held position, forming a protective wall between the weapon and the fleeing evacuees. 10 seconds. Grab's arm. Stop this, please. Those soldiers up there are trying to save people, human and both. That's what real heroes do. Heroes? Laughed bitterly. There are no heroes, just survivors. 5 seconds. My whole life I've lived in darkness, said. Hiding, afraid, angry, but those people up there. They're trying to make something better, something new. Don't take that away from them. Don't take it away from us. His hand hovered over the firing control. 3 seconds. She thought about the children in New Seoul, the ones born in caves who never saw sunlight, the ones who learned to read by candlelight, the ones who deserved better than endless hiding, endless war, endless revenge. 2 seconds. Pulled her hand back. Power down the weapon. 1 second. Shut down the systems. The energy readings dropped. The weapon went dormant. In space, both fleets breathed a collective sigh of relief. But there was no time to celebrate. The architects had reached Earth's orbit. Their ships surrounded the planet, black and massive and terrible. A voice echoed across all frequencies. It sounded like metal grinding against stone. Your time has expired. Sterilization will now begin. The architect's ships began to glow. Weapons charged. Every scanner screamed warnings. In seconds they would fire and every living thing on Earth would die. Looked at his crew, at young and brave, at brilliant and curious, at hopeful and kind. Then he looked at on the screen a who'd become an unlikely friend. If we're going to die today, said, let's die doing the right thing. All power to weapons, all ships engage the architects. For Earth, said. For Earth, agreed. For humanity, added a new voice. It was broadcasting from below. All underground cities are activating our defenses. We stand with you. The combined fleet, human and ships together, charged at the architect vessels. They were outmatched. They probably wouldn't survive. But they would fight anyway. Because that's what you do for home. The first volley of fire from the combined fleet hit the architect's ships like rain hitting mountains. The black vessels didn't even slow down. Their shields absorbed everything, shimmering with colors that shouldn't exist in normal space. No effect, reported. Their shields are regenerating faster than we can damage them. Gripped his command chair. Keep firing, target their weapons. The architect's ships returned fire. Beams of dark energy lanced through space, cutting through ship hulls like paper. Human and vessels exploded in brilliant flashes. Hundreds of lives ended in seconds. We're losing too many ships, his voice crackled over the comm. This isn't working. Was frantically scanning the architect vessels. There has to be a weakness. Every technology has limits, even theirs. On the planet's surface, and had raced back to the ancient weapon chamber. The hologram of Admiral was playing again, and they were listening carefully to every word. The architects are an ancient enemy, the hologram said. They see biological life as a contamination. They've been trying to sterilize Earth for millions of years, but they have a weakness. The weapon I left behind was designed specifically to counter their technology. It creates a quantum barrier that they cannot pass through. Why didn't you use it 30,000 years ago? Shouted at the hologram. As if answering her, the hologram continued. The weapon requires massive amounts of power to function, power that can only be generated by combining human and energy systems. Yes, you heard that right. I made a deal with the early, but not the deal history remembers. We planned to work together to defend Earth from the architects, but they betrayed us. They wanted Earth for themselves, so we had to flee. She's saying both species were betrayed, said. The leaders on both sides lied. Was already working on the weapon controls. If we can connect our power cores to the orbital platforms, we might be able to activate the barrier, but we'd need their cooperation. Opened a channel too. I'm sending you data on the weapon. You need energy signatures to make it work. Can you get them? Looked at on the screen. Did you hear that? I heard. Sending you our access codes now. But there's a problem. The weapon needs someone from both species to authorize it simultaneously. Genetic locks, remember. Then we do it together, said. In space, the battle was getting worse. More ships were dying. The architects were slowly advancing toward the planet, crushing everything in their path. It would all be over in minutes. And coordinated a desperate plan. Small shuttles from both fleets broke away from the battle, racing toward the surface. They carried an along with a handful of soldiers from each side. They had to reach the weapon chamber before the architects destroyed everything. "Covering your approach," called out. Human and ships formed a protective wall, taking hit after hit from architect weapons. Ships exploded all around them, but the shuttles kept going. One shuttle took a glancing blow. It spiraled out of control, crashing into Earth's atmosphere. Watched it burn up, carrying 20 souls to their deaths. 20 people who gave their lives so the mission could continue. The remaining shuttles made it to the surface and met in the underground chamber, standing before the weapon controls, and were there, along with a young human pilot named who'd helped evacuate civilians. "The controls are ready," said. "You just need to place your hands on the panels, both of you, at the same time." And looked at each other, a human and a descendants of enemies, standing together to save a world that neither fully owned. "Whatever happens," said, "I'm glad I met you." "Same," replied. They placed their hands on the panels. The weapon recognized their genetic signatures. Power surged through ancient circuits. The entire chamber began to glow with blue light. Above them, in orbit, the ancient weapon activated. Energy poured from installations all over the planet, human and systems working in perfect harmony. The energy formed a barrier around Earth, a shimmering wall of quantum force. The architects fired their weapons at the barrier. The dark beams hit the shield and simply vanished, absorbed into nothingness. For the first time, the architect's ship stopped advancing. "It's working," shouted on the bridge. "The barrier is holding." But inside the chamber, alarms were blaring. Checked the systems and her face went pale. "The weapon is drawing too much power. It's burning out the cores. We have maybe 5 minutes before everything fails." "5 minutes," said. "That's not enough time to." "It's enough," said firmly. He opened a channel to the architect fleet. "This is commander of the human fleet. You said you wanted biological life off Earth. We're saying no. This planet is ours, all of ours. Every human, every creature that lives here, you can't have it." The metal grinding voice responded. "You cannot maintain that barrier forever. Your technology will fail. We are patient. We will wait." "Then you'll wait forever," said, "because we're not leaving." "Interesting," the architect voice said. "Biological species working together. We have not observed this before. You are different from previous populations." "Previous populations," said. "How many worlds have they done this to?" "Irrelevant," the architect replied. "You have proven capable of unified defense. Under our protocols, this grants you provisional status. Earth will be monitored. If cooperation ceases, we will return. If biological warfare resumes, we will return. If you prove unworthy of this world, we will return." "We'll be ready," said. The architect's ships began to pull back, slowly moving away from Earth. Within an hour, they jumped to quantum space and disappeared. The barrier around Earth held for exactly 4 minutes and 58 seconds before the weapon burned out completely. But it was enough. The architects were gone. In the weapon chamber, everyone collapsed from exhaustion, sat on the floor, his hands shaking, was beside him, breathing heavily. They'd done it. They'd actually done it. "Now what?" asked. "The architects are gone, but we still have all our old problems. Humans, and still have 30,000 years of bad history between us." Stood up slowly. "Then we make new history, better history." Over the next weeks, negotiations began in earnest. It wasn't easy. There was anger on both sides, grief, resentment. The scars of the past didn't heal quickly. But slowly, agreements were reached. Earth would become a shared world, governed by a council with representatives from both species. Would begin the long process of modifying their technology so Earth could survive without it. Humans would share their advanced knowledge to help speed up the process. The underground cities were opened up. People saw sunlight for the first time in generations. They cried. They laughed. They planted gardens in the ruins of old Seoul. stepped down as military commander. He took a position on the new Earth Council instead, working alongside and to build something that had never existed before, true cooperation. Became the head of a combined defense force, training human and soldiers to work together, just in case the architects came back. Established a museum dedicated to truth. All the history, good and bad, was preserved there. No more lies, no more propaganda, just facts. Worked on diplomatic relations with the wider galaxy, explaining what had happened at Earth. The story spread. 2 enemy species had faced extinction and chose unity instead. It became a symbol, a hope. And got married, the first official human couple. Their wedding was attended by thousands, broadcast across the planet. It was a small gesture, but it meant everything. Admiral faced trial for his unauthorized attack. He showed no remorse, convinced to the end that he'd been right. He was sentenced to life in prison, a reminder of what happened when hate ruled hearts. 5 years after the battle, stood in the reconstructed streets of Seoul. The city was alive again, filled with humans and living side by side. Children of both species played together in parks. Markets sold food from both cultures. Music mixed languages that had been enemies. It wasn't perfect. There were still fights, still prejudice, still people on both sides who couldn't let go of the past, but it was better. Every day it got a little better. Walked up beside him. She was older now, tired from years of hard work, but she smiled as she looked at the city. Your people asked if we forgave them, she said, for the exodus, for leaving us behind. And asked. I told them forgiveness wasn't the point, understanding was. They did what they thought they had to do. We did what we had to do. Now we do what we choose to do. And what do we choose? Pointed at the city, at the mixing of 2 civilizations into something new. We choose this. We choose tomorrow. Nodded. He'd come to Earth expecting to reclaim a lost paradise. Instead, he'd found something better, a chance to build a new one. Above them, both human and ships patrolled the sky, watching for threats. The ancient weapon lay dormant deep underground, waiting. The architects were out there somewhere, watching. But Earth was defended now, not by one species but by 2, not through conquest but through choice. 30,000 years ago, humanity had fled this world in fear. Today, they stood on it in strength, not because they'd taken it back but because they'd learned to share it. And that made all the difference. The word reclaim had changed its meaning. It no longer meant to take back what was lost. It meant to make worthy again, to prove that Earth and everyone on it deserved a future. They had reclaimed their home, but more importantly, they had reclaimed their humanity.